Hello, this is Michael Oloide. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to tune your snare drum like a pro, or rather how to get a pro sound out of your snare drum. Recently, I got quite a number of requests from you asking me to show how I tune my snare drum. This is as a result of the series of videos I posted on different snare drum heads, Remo and the Evans brand of snare drum heads. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you exactly how I tune my snare drum for those videos. So if you're ready, get your drumstick, your snare drum, and let's get to work. For this exercise, I'm going to be making use of a Pearl Sensitone snare drum. It's made of a custom alloy bronze shell, and it's a 6.5 by 14 snare drum. For the heads, I have the Evans General on the batter side. On the response side, I have the Evans AZ300. But before we go into the actual tuning of this snare drum, there are a few things you need to make sure are in good shape on your snare drum. Number one, it's your rim, the rim of your snare drum for both the batter head and the bottom head. You want to ensure it's in perfect circle, it's in good shape, and it's not bent in any way. This will ensure the proper sitting of the heads on the shell. Secondly, you want to ensure that your lugs are intact, that you don't have any broken lugs. The reason for this, it ensures the even tensioning of your snare drum. As you can see for this snare drum, it's a 10 lug snare drum. So you want to ensure that all your lugs are intact and none of it is broken. The other thing is you want to ensure that your bearing edges for this a brass snare, you want to ensure the bearing edges of your snare are intact. They are not broken in any way. If you're using a wooden snare, you want to be sure that the bearing edges are intact. The other thing you want to pay attention to is the snare wires. As a matter of fact, this is one of the most important elements of the snare drum. As a matter of fact, without this drum will not be called a snare drum. And there's a simple way you can check if your snare wires are intact. All you need to do is disengage the throw-offs, pull them apart, pull the snare wire apart on both ends. It's a little bit difficult to do right now because I have it installed on the snare drum. So what you want to do is you want to pull it apart on both ends. Once you do that, the snare wires are meant to stop vibrating virtually at the same time. But if you realize that one or two are still vibrating afterwards, it's a good indication that you need to change your snare wires. Then lastly, which is quite obvious, is you need good snare heads for both the response side and the top side, the batter side. You want to ensure your drum heads are intact. So now let's go to the actual tuning of this snare drum. We are starting from the response side. For the sake of this video, I've done some certain things off the camera, and which is tightening the response head. And the reason why I did that is because I'm not aiming for any particular pitch. I just want to get my response head as tight as possible. So let's hear what it sounds like right now. Really tight. But at the same time, you need to be careful so you don't damage your lugs. There's some snare drums out there in the market that wouldn't withstand very tight tuning. So be careful about that so you don't damage your snare drum. Just make sure you go as tight as you could possibly go. I'm going to flip over to the batter side and we're going to start the actual tuning of the snare drum. By way of note, the crack you're looking for in the snare drum lies on the response head. If you're looking for some crack, you're looking for some grit in your snare drum, it all lies on the response head. So please pay attention to that. For the batter side, we're going to be going through 4 tuning pitches. The first one, I call it a very low snare sound. The second one is low pitch. The third one is medium pitch. And the last one is high pitch snare sound. So what I'm going to do at first is I'm going to finger tighten the tension rods so that I can ensure the batter head is properly seated on the shell. If you don't want to use your fingers, if you have this is an Evans drum key, if you have any key with this protruded end, you can simply use this. Just hold it with tip of your fingers and turn. Once you feel any form of resistance, then you can stop. So right now I'm finger tightening. I'm not really going in any systematic direction. So for the low, very low tuning pitch, I'm going to give it a quarter tone of the drum key just to even out any wrinkle on the edge. So for the 10 log snare drum, I'm starting from here, then I'll go the opposite log. Then I'm going to count 2 logs clockwise, in a clockwise direction. I'll give it a quarter turn. Go the opposite log, give it a quarter turn. Remember, I'm starting from here, so you need to pay attention to where you're starting from. Then I count 2 logs, 1, 2. Third one, give it a quarter turn, a quarter turn. Then I'll go 1, 2. I'll give it a quarter turn. Go the opposite log, give it a quarter turn. Now I'm giving this particular log more than a quarter turn because I've evened out the edges. So this seems a little loose than the other one. So it's not a cast in stone rule that when you're going a quarter turn, it has to be exactly a quarter turn. So you also, there's a feeling to it that you need to learn. It comes by tuning over time. Remember, I started from here. So 1, 2, 3, a quarter turn, opposite log, a quarter turn, 1, 2, 3. So I'm back to where I started from. So let's hear what this sounds like. This is without the snare wires. So I'm going to adjust the snare wires a little bit, tighten it a little bit more. I'm not using any form of dampening in this video. You can check out my other video on different dampening methods. I decided not to use any form of dampening. You can dampen to your or muffle the snare drum to your taste afterwards. Yes, for the very low tuning pitch is very dicey in the sense that the pitch is very low, so you have lots of buzzes going on the response set. So you might actually need to take your time to fine tune the snare wires to suit whatever you're doing. Up next is the low pitch snare sound. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to give each log a quarter turn at first. If it's low enough, I'm going to leave it that way. If I need to take it up a little bit, I can add another quarter or half turn of the key. So I'm going to start with a half turn of the key. Starting from here again, the opposite log, 1, 2, 3, 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 opposite log. and we're back to 1, 2, 3 to where I started. Up next is the medium pitch snare sound. Before I do that, at the end of this video, I'm going to show you a simple trick on how to move from a high pitched snare sound to a very low pitched snare sound on a set. That is, you are live on stage, you're playing, a song requires a high pitched snare drum. Yes, you have your snare tuned to high pitched snare drum, you're playing, and the next song requires you to go very low. I'll show you a simple trick to do that right on stage. So stay tuned to the end. Now to the medium pitch snare sound. I'm going to start from here as well. Remember, I'm going to give it a half turn. Go to the opposite log, half turn. 1, 2, 3. Remember, I'm starting from here. Opposite log. 1, 2, 3. Half turn. Opposite log. 1, 2, 3. Opposite log. 1, 2, 3. Opposite log. 1, 2, 3. Back to where I started from. So let's hear what it sounds like. For this, I'm going to loosen the snare wire just a little bit. Let me loosen it a little more. Just a little more, so I can get the snare sound a little bit more. With all the snare wires. With the snare wires. For some folks, this actually a high-pitched snare sound, but I think I can still go a little more on this particular snare sound. So really, pitch is actually relative. What I call medium might actually be low for some people, and for some people it might actually be high. So really, it's just relative to you. So it's not a cast in stone rule that, oh, this is low, this is very low, this is medium, this is high. You can determine what pitch it is for you. So now up to the last one, which is the very high or the high pitch snare sound. So for this, I'm going to give it another half tone. If I need to go up a little more, I'll do that. So starting from here again. Back to where I started. So really, you really need to know the kind of snare drum you have. I'm actually doing a half tone here and there, but for some snare drum, you might actually just need a quarter tone of the drum key on the snare drum. You don't want a situation where you're cranking it up and you get your lugs broken. So be very careful. I know this particular snare drum a lot. I've used it a lot. And as a matter of fact, from my experience playing Pearl snare drums, they actually have very strong snare lugs. They really break on you. But at the same time, be careful with them. So I haven't done that. Now let's hear what it sounds like without the snare wires. So really, there's a lot you can do with different dampening materials. With just the tip of my thumb, you can hear the difference in sound. So really, you can dampen or muffle to taste as you like. So I said I was going to show you a simple trick with which you can use to go from a very high pitch snare sound to low pitch snare sound on a gig. So all you need to do is identify a particular log. I'll take this as my center log. I'm going to drop the pitch on the tension rod beside it, on the right and on the left. I'm giving it a full turn. Then I'm going to drop this 2 turn of the key. Another full turn on the right and on the left. Then I'll go 2 turn on the center. As you can hear, if I need to go a little more, I'll go down 1 turn of the key on the right and on the left, and I'll give it 2 full turn on both sides. You can see that there's lots of wrinkles on this part of the snare drum. Yes, it's fine. It's not going to damage your snare head at the moment. Maybe in the long run, yes, you might need to change your snare head. Now I need to go back. All you need to do is I go to the side logs and turn these twice. And that's it on how to tune your snare drum like a pro or get a pro sound out of your snare drum. The key to this method is practice. You need to practice. Take your snare drum, your drum kit, take time out, practice, detune your snare drum, tune it back home, try it multiple times, and that's how you get better at doing it. Remember to share this video with your friends, with your drummer friends, your producer friends, your sound engineer friends. If you're watching my video for the first time or you've been seeing my videos and you're yet to subscribe to my channel, please click the subscribe button below and remember to click the notification bell. And if you have any question or any comment, please leave it in the comment section below. See you next time. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.